Hi, my name is Corey Goss, and in this video, I'll be introducing you to the class browser, one component of our SystemVerilog class-based debug solution within SimVision. Specifically, these are the topics we'll be looking at within this video. I'm now going to switch over to our demo. This is the same demo environment we've used on other videos within this series. To access the class browser, we click on the class browser sidebar tab. That is this tab down here. Just to increase the size of this sidebar, I'm actually going to break it away. So I'm going to click on this dashed line right here, and now we find that the class browser is in a new window on its own, and I'm going to increase the size. Now, the class browser is broken into a number of different panes. So in the top left here, we have our class inheritance hierarchy. This shows us all of the classes that we have within our environment. And you'll notice that some are in italic font, others are not. The ones that are italicized indicate that, hey, you have defined one of these classes within your environment. However, there's no objects that you've actually instantiated of this type within your environment. If I click on one that's not italicized, you'll see that an object here will show up in the objects pane. The objects pane shows users how many objects exist of that particular class in the environment, and each object has its own unique class handle. Down in the bottom, we have our methods and data members tabs. These indicate all of the data members that exist for any class that you've selected. By default, we show the derived data members only, and we show them as bolded font. We also show the type of that particular member, as well as the class in which that member came from. I'll explain why that's important in a minute. Now, methods also shows you all the methods and where the class definition came from. Now, I can search within our class inheritance hierarchy for any class of interest. So in this case, I'm going to search for the APB master driver, and notice that we find a hit. I can navigate up and down through the hits using these binoculars. Now, by default, we show the simplest amount of information possible, and that is all of the user-defined types. But we have preferences available when doing class debug that allow you to bring in inheritance information and to show data members and methods from parents. So to access the preferences, we go to Edit, Preferences, and we select the Class Debug tab. Now from there, I can choose to enable my UVM base class information to be displayed, which I'm going to do. You can also display your class hierarchy starting from the derived classes, and that's what I'm also going to enable. You can also choose to enable the fully qualified class names being displayed. In other words, you'll see the package information showing up in the name of the class. And see how here we have derived only for our members and methods? I'm actually going to enable inheritance as super, and I'm going to explain to you what these have done to our view. So I select apply, and now I select OK. And I go back to my class information, and let's find that master driver again. Notice now that the master driver actually has a button beside it that we can expand. So now I see that the master driver actually inherits off of UVM driver inherits off of UVM component, and so forth, all the way up to the UVM void object. This shows me my full inheritance with the derived type showing as the root. Okay, so we walk our way backward through the parent tree. Now, any of these objects I can actually click on and just say right-click Send to Source Browser to see the definition of that particular class in the source browser. All right, so you can see that pop up here. Okay. Now, also down in the Data Members and Methods pane, notice that we now have, in addition to the locally defined items, we also have a new group here called super. And if I expand out this super, this shows me that in my parent, the direct parent of this child here, APB master driver, has added in these fields. There's a rec field of type APB transfer that was added, and you can see the class definition of where that came from, UVM driver. And if I want to see which fields were added by the UVM driver's parent, I can just scroll down and I can see super over here, and this will show me which fields have been added by that parent. Now, if I have an object that exists inside of my my object's pane. So if there's an object living inside the environment that inherits off of UVM component, then what I can also do is I can see this in the design browser hierarchy. So I can select the object and say send to design browser. And what we'll see is the design browser will open and it'll be auto expanded down to the actual location of that driver where it resides within the hierarchy. I can also see all the driver's fields over here in the data members and methods pane. So the the class browser is great at being able to identify and locate classes within the environment, and also to show the UVM fields and the inheritance hierarchy, and also just to navigate around through the UVM environment to find classes of interest. So I do hope you found this video useful. Do check out other videos within the series.